Attending are in listen-only mode.
Thank you, and welcome to the formal meeting of the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors for February 11th, 2026. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Good morning, thank you. Supervisor Gallardo will join us shortly. Supervisor Lesko? Here. Supervisor Galvin?
Here.
Supervisor Stewart?
Here.
Chair Brophy McGee?
Here. And now we will proceed with our invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today I've invited a guest of mine, Kenneth Warrow, and would he come forward to the podium? He's already there. And he's going to lead us in the prayer and pledge today. And then after that, I'd like to talk a little bit about him.
Please join me in prayer, you according to your tradition and me according to mine. Father God, we come to you to invoke your blessing on the business to be conducted at this meeting today. We acknowledge our lack of wisdom and inability to make everybody happy by the decisions we make. But we thank you that you've assured us that if we lack wisdom, you'll provide it if we seek it from you. So thank you for the wisdom you'll bring to the table today. And may all who contribute season their comments with gentleness, respect, and clarity, and that the resultant decisions will be for the advancement of the constituency of Maricopa County. And just as we ask your blessing over this meeting, we pray that in and through the interaction of these public servants, Maricopa County will be blessed as well. Thank you for the contributions of each and everyone here today, and may your blessings rest and abide with all of us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Now, would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and unborn. And now we proceed to the most popular part of our regular agenda, and that, oh, never mind. But it's still a popular part. Supervisor Lesko, would you please tell us about your guest?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to tell the audience about my special guest today that led us in the prayer and the pledge. His name is Kenneth Warrow. Ken, you know, you have quite an accomplishment, and I'm very impressed. It's my honor to introduce my guest this morning, Lieutenant Colonel Kenneth Warrow, U.S. Army retired. Ken is a proud graduate of Moon Valley High School, class of 1970. Kenneth began his service in our country in the United States Navy as a Seabee, serving 3 years. He later attended Hawaii Tokai International College, graduating in just 2 years. And it was there that he met my pastor from my church, Jim Bull, who is now my community liaison and works for me, and it began a friendship that continues to this day. Kenneth went on to serve 3 years as a missionary in Korea, pastored in Sierra Vista and Denver, and then answered another call to serve, joining the United States Army as a chaplain, where he faithfully served for 21 years. Including over 12 years in Korea, retiring as a lieutenant colonel. After his military career, he continued shaping lives by teaching seminary from 2007 to 2020. Ken, congratulations on your 24 years of military service and of a lifetime devoted to strengthening others through faith, leadership, and spiritual guidance. Ken and his wonderful wife, Kay, have been married for 46 years and have 2 sons. We're really grateful to have you here today, considering you live in South Korea, in Seoul, South Korea. He told me today that his mother's 96th birthday is in February, and she lives here in Arizona. And you also told me we're going to pray for your wife and her sister who are sick. And so please join me in welcoming Lieutenant Colonel Kenneth Warrow.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair, for slowing me down to hear those words. And thank you for the prayer that you have said over this body. Now we will proceed to a really, really popular part of the board agenda, the pet showcase. Clearly that's not the dog in the picture.
Yeah, Teddy was a little busy today, so I have brought the exact opposite of Teddy, which is a 61-pound German Shepherd named Poppy. He came into us on January 31st, and as I just learned, he is afraid of applause, so please hold your applause. He is a total sweetheart, and he definitely hams it up when he needs to. But he came into us on January 31st. His previous owner told us that he does well with children as young as 4 years old, good with other dogs as well. They did a really good job taking care of him and raising him to be a good dog. He knows his commands in Spanish, and he is potty trained from what we can tell as well. And again, a super sweet dog. He's kind of a Velcro dog. I took him to Channel 3 on Monday, and he sat in my lap in their studio, so that was always fun. Again, 61 pounds. But his adoption fee is waived starting today through Sunday for our Bissell Empty the Shelters adoption event. So all dogs 6 months and older have their fees waived through Sunday.
Thank you. He was very nice to all the board members, so clearly he is trained to children.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Good luck. You will find a home. Let us proceed first to the planning and zoning hearings consent agenda. Supervisors, do you wish to remove any item?
Madam Chair, I'd like to ask the clerk if there are any speakers on the planning and zoning consent agenda.
Madam Clerk.
Madam Chair and Vice Chair, I do have one speaker form from Luimar Garza wishing to speak on item number 5.
Madam Vice Chair?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since we have a speaker on item number 5, I would like to pull that agenda item.
Okay, thank you. I will entertain a motion for items 6 through 11.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve items 6 through 11.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Hearing no discussion, we will proceed to a vote. All those in favor will vote aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. Supervisor Lesko, do you want to introduce a motion to start number 5, or do you wish to hear the public participation?
Madam Chair, I'd like to hear the speakers first.
Thank you. Luimar Garza, please come forward. Three minutes.
Whoa, blessed be. Should I wait for the 3 minutes?
Oh.
Going once, 1 more minute.
There. Oh.
Not 33.
We'll get
There we
there. Your patience is appreciated.
Thank you. On number 5, just so you know, Lennar Corporation has been run out of town in Florida, basically through a lawsuit that with the Seminole tribe in which 400 rotting homes are on 6 reservations. So they came running to Arizona. Now, I know you were not here in 2021 when this was approved, and today, with a 40-page hyperlink, the only thing supposedly that Lennar wants to do is change it to take away from a 55 plus and do whoever wants to live there. And you've had two people who oppose that, Caroline Campos, I believe, one of them. I'm wondering why you need 40 pages to change only one thing on the agreement for 2021. I would like to mention the people that you must deal with: Stuart Miller, Mark Sestana, who have run from Florida to come here. I want to know, was the military aspect of it already provided for the 55 plus? Because my understanding is through Sun City, you are surrounded by 55 plus. Now, my question to you, Lesko, is there's a page 2 of the hyperlink, little b2, there is a traffic study that is still ongoing regarding this property. Now that you're taking away the 55 plus, you're going to have an excessive amount of vehicles or traffic in that area. Please take that into consideration before you approve this. And please do a little bit more research on the individuals you are dealing with, because the people in Florida are sick and tired of Lennar and company. Now you can do, after you do the traffic study, then if you pass this today, then you can approve it and see if it doesn't go into the F category as far as traffic is concerned, because I had an overhead look and it's really tight over there. And there is one thing, Lennar has a tendency in their documentation to demand arbitration with their people. And that's why a lot of the people get jacked over by Lennar. And I would strongly suggest that your attorneys check this out, what's happened in Florida, before you make the same mistake here. And on top of that, 76% of our agenda is off limits. Shame on you. And let's go for that. I will say to you that last year I recall you saying, ha, 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 Trump would never pay attention to what's going on here in Maricopa County. Psych.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Galvin.
my apologies. There was an oversight on my part, but I need to recuse from this item.
Thank you very much. Let the
Okay.
record show that Mr. Galvin has recused.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Is the applicant here to speak?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ashley Marsh from Gamage and Burnham, 40 North
Welcome.
Central. Thank you
Please
very much.
proceed.
Thank you. I have a presentation prepared. I would love to just address the comments, if that's okay with you, Supervisor Lesko. I know you are familiar with
Yes,
our
please,
matter.
and could we give the applicant 5 minutes?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be very brief. Supervisor Lesko is familiar with our project. This is already a built-out community for the most part. We've already started construction. Lennar is here today as a simple stipulation modification to remove an arguably unenforceable stipulation on an old zoning case, which requires that one resident be 55 or older in this particular subdivision. The subdivision's well underway. We have already gone horizontal. We have an approved traffic study. This is a final platted community. So really all we're here today is to remove a stipulation that requires one resident be 55 or older. Again, arguably unenforceable. We feel the right thing is to remove it from the stipulation. We've already had our traffic study completed. We've already had our plat done. We've already started going vertical on this project. We're on a hard corner. We don't anticipate any issues with traffic. We've done our outreach. I'm happy to address any questions, but I would welcome any comments, feedbacks. It's really just to remove an unenforceable stipulation.
Thank you, Ms. Marsh. Welcome, Mr. Gallardo, in person. We are on item 5, 99th Avenue and Olive Avenue modification of conditions. We have heard from opposition, we have heard from the applicant, and Supervisor Galvin recused himself on this item. That gets you caught up. Supervisor Lesko.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And the reason, this is right next to Sun City. And I didn't know if any of the people that had written in opposition were here and wanted to speak. And so I wanted to give an opportunity to speakers to speak on this. You are right. The applicant is correct. I have met with them. They went over in detail what the plan is, what the history was on this lot. I also asked them at that time to reach out to the Sun City HOA, which is right, Sun City is like right across the street from this property. And I spoke to the executive director of the Sun City HOA yesterday in person, and they have no problems with this application. And with that, unless there's other people that have questions or comments, I move that we approve item number 5.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, for the record, Madam Clerk, would you do a roll call vote?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Supervisor Gallardo.
Aye.
Vice Chair Lesko.
Aye.
Supervisor Stewart.
Aye.
And I'm sorry, Supervisor Galvin has recused on this item, and Chair Brophy McGee.
Aye. So the motion passes unanimously, 4-0 with 1 recusal. I am now going to exercise my discretion as chair and move item 57, from the Board of Supervisors addendum regarding recorder heap to make reports pursuant to ARS 11-253. I will open this item for comments and a motion. Madam Vice Chair, you had asked to speak.
Yes.
You need to turn the microphone.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I start out by saying, as I have said here before, that I'm frustrated, and I voted for Recorder Heap in the Republican primary and have really, in good faith, tried to work with him. And it's been a frustrating experience for over a year now. And I just want to say that elected officials can't operate in secret. They have to explain what they're doing, especially when they're affecting ballots and elections. Justin Heap's office has repeatedly refused to answer basic questions that the Board of Supervisors has asked. This has gone on now for over a year. He won't answer basic questions related to his budget requests. He won't answer questions about signature verification. He won't answer questions about signature curing. He won't answer questions about special election boards. He won't answer questions about deputy registers. He won't answer questions about the time he wanted to send ballots to all voters, even when they didn't ask for one. Something, by the way, I fought when I was in Congress because the Democrats wanted to do that. And it was illegal. It's illegal to do that. His office even told the board in a public meeting that he got the approval to do this illegal ballot mailing from the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. And then we found out from Rachel Mitchell herself, the county attorney, that he definitely had not. That is why Chair Kate Brophy McGee wrote a letter to Recorder Heap this January 22nd, asking basic questions that really should be easy to answer. You know, they're not hard questions. Yet, she has gotten no response, not a peep. My office tried to get answers. As an example, I just want to share this with you. He tried to get answers from Recorder Heap's office last October about a constituent's question and a request for help. Specifically, my office got a call from a constituent at Glencroft Senior Living Center, located in my district, saying she was frustrated because the recorder's office told her that his office no longer is helping seniors at their facility register to vote. So my office tried to reach out to Recorder's Heap office to see if that was true and what was happening. We didn't get a response. So I was forced to write a letter to Recorder Heap back in October, and I never got a response, not a peep. This is a pattern of refusing to answer basic questions related to his job, his budget requests, and election-related procedures. This is not normal behavior. I have never witnessed other Maricopa County elected officials doing this. I mean, usually if they want a budget request, they don't sue us and not answer questions. It's begging the question, what does Recorder Heap have to hide? Secondly, when the Recorder's office does provide information, it's often incorrect. For example, his office testified in court that recently that voters are being disenfranchised now, blaming the Board of Supervisors for not providing him funds to buy an Agilis ballot sorting machine that his own staff had said they don't have room to put. And in fact, we have an email from the Recorder's office staff saying, well, we could store it in the basement. But then 2 days later, after the court hearing, Recorder Heap himself said in a public budget meeting that no voters had been disenfranchised, even though 2 days before that, his chief of staff said they were. So what's true? What has been said in court, or what was said in a public meeting by Recorder Heap himself? Another example, his office said the Maricopa County Attorney's Office approved an illegal voting plan, but then County Attorney Rachel Mitchell denied it, said it wasn't true. In fact, she wrote him a letter saying it was illegal to do so. Mr. Heap's office said that they submitted certain budget requests to us, but we couldn't find the request. And what was really puzzling to me is recently at a budget meeting where all of the elected officials come in front of us and ask for their request for the fiscal year 27 budget, which is not this year's budget, but next year's budget. One of the requests was for signature verification workstations and remodeling to put those workstations in that cost over $500,000. Well, you know, everyone knows that the fiscal year 27 budget does not get approved by this board till June of this year, right? But then, confusingly to me, Justin Heap called me the very next day after that meeting and said, I have an urgent request. I need the money like in 2 days. And I was like, Justin, we don't vote on that budget till fiscal year 27. So I asked our county manager, Jen Pekorski, to please help him, right? And so we tried to help him with his budget request so he would know how to do it. Then in another example, his office said they took over space in our buildings, but we have no record of that. Meanwhile, Recorder Heap's office is making mistakes with Maricopa County elections. They plan to mail ballots to voters who never requested them, which is illegal. They told voters incorrectly their voter registration status would be changed to inactive. Now Recorder Heap, as I said, comes to the board and wants us to give him another $550,000. Before approving that, we have a few questions. Understandably so. What exactly will this money be used for? If we spend this money, what problem will we solve? Is there a cheaper way to solve the problem, if there even is a problem? Are these changes a prudent use of money? Will these changes disenfranchise voters? These are the sorts of questions we'd ask any elected official who wants an extra $550,000 of taxpayer money. It's the normal give and take of budgeting process, just as you and every one of you do in your homes if somebody asks you for money. You ask questions. Now, I prefer to call Recorder Heap, and we could just figure this out. But I've been trying to do that for over a year now. But until, unfortunately, Recorder Heap learns to answer questions directly and truthfully, that's just not possible. So this report is our best option for understanding the issues and making good decisions. I feel Recorder Heap has left us no alternative.
Thank you. Comments from other board members? Hearing that, Madam Clerk, do we have speakers signed in on this agenda item?
Madam Chair, yes, I do have 4 speaker forms who wish to speak on this item.
Okay, call the first speaker, please. 2 minutes.
First speaker, Luimar Garza.
And who's the second, so they know they're up?
Blue Crawley.
Luima Garza, I want to know, do we still have the Smartmatic and Dominion machines in this milieu of what's happening? If Justin Heap has already filed a lawsuit, you know darn well that he is unable to answer any more questions to you directly. It has become quite clear that when you say we've tried to talk to him for over a year, well, you've set the example when I have sent several emails to you and asked to speak with you personally. So it makes me wonder, why are you so hesitant to tell the full truth regarding what is going on in this election procedure? Now, that being said, I'm really happy that the laser beam is being shown across the nation regarding all these entities that have taken time to absolutely gut our voting system. And with that, we demand ballots, and your 500 million that you're so, or 500,000 that you're so worried about. I could go over the entire year's agenda last year and see how much money you sent out wastefully into an HIV epidemic which doesn't exist, but you still keep on the Ryan White bullshit that's going on. A lot of little factors that what you're saying, and you're saying your attorney, Miss Mitchell here, understand that they are members of the BAR, the British Accreditation Registry. This has nothing to do with the reality of what is happening here in the restored Republic of the USA. Get rid of the machines, do hand ballots, and then you'll get all the answers to the questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Mr. Crawley. Who follows Mr. Crawley, Madam Clerk?
Followed by Leslie Shepard and then Lori Baroni.
Would it be possible to let them speak before me? I'd like to speak last.
Please proceed.
All right. Everything both of you two have said, I agree with totally. I mean, how much of a game has Mr. Heap been doing this whole time? It's a part of the election denial thing, and to point a negative finger at the board saying, you guys were skullduggerous. That's part of the reason you have the audit in that, and from what I understand, what you have gleaned from it, the past board wasn't guilty of the skullduggery that the maggots and their cronies say happened. I love that, well, let's make America great, Trump supporters spells maggots. You know, it's an easy way to explain it, especially with their leadership of being
Madam
the
Chair.
Lord of the Flies.
I just point out, don't, point of order, don't personally insult folks, even if you disagree with them politically.
I'm not.
I've heard you
Thank
use
you.
that word before. Just please
Right.
refrain from that.
It's
Mr.
not an
Galvin.
insult, it's what
Mr.
it
Crawley,
spells.
please continue.
All right, thank you, ma'am. With what Supervisor Lesko has expressed, with what you have been requesting from the recorder all this time, and he continues to do what? Act like you're supporting the past board? Well, yeah, you did, because you know that they didn't do anything wrong, that it was an attempt to discredit it. Now, what the president and the FBI are doing in Florida, the skullduggery of that. I believe you guys are one of the ones next to get it. And what does this show of our America? Let's do it right.
Thank you, Mr. Crowley. Madam Clerk?
Leslie Shepherd, and then Lori Baroni.
Thank you.
Is it true if we're contesting it, we get 3 minutes?
2 minutes.
Okay. All right, so here it is, February 18th. It looks like you're attempting to bypass court, and you're doing this, again, airing your dirty laundry in front of everyone. It was observing, I was looking at all the details here that you had. I was really appreciating a lot of the stuff that Debbie Lesko mentioned about how, you know, not getting return phone calls, no transparency, all these other things. That's exactly what we deal with you. So I appreciate that you have an indignance toward it. It would be nice if you applied it to yourself. And then the other thing is Kate Brophy-McGee, the reason I'm bringing this up, because it is about Recorder Heap. At the last meeting, you allowed things to go so off topic. I mean, even though I love Steve Gallardo, he went off for like 6 minutes about a tweet that had nothing to do with a budget. And Debbie, unfortunately, you did not even do a point of order to correct that. You sat there and watched that in silence, so you condone that. And then obviously, Steve, unfortunately, you just kept talking about something that had nothing to do with the budget meeting. And then, last but not least, the gentleman who gave us the new decorum rules about not talking disparagingly about people, you called Justin Heap a liar 3 times using the webinar, the very thing that I was denied for that same exact day in the earlier meeting where you had 4 people who could speak for 3 minutes, but I was denied my webinar showing up and being able to have that time. So I'm mentioning this because I look at all the information you guys put in here. It's obviously you guys are playing politics and playing light. The Agilis was actually mentioned by Jen that it was on the report when he applied for it the first time. And you're sitting here wanting to mince fingers. That was corrected, that it was corrected about the fact that they didn't say people disenfranchised. They said they didn't want people to become disenfranchised. So what I'm seeing is a performance. And it's sad. It's super sad because you're doing that at the expense of the voters as you play your outdoor politics in front of everybody in your dirty little sandbox.
Ms. Baroni. Madam Clerk, are there any other speakers?
Madam Chair, Ms. Baroni, the last speaker.
Thank you.
I would just like to point out that Ms. Lesko, you consider Mr. Heap, or you've talked about that he can't, he's not answering your questions. Well, maybe that's because you've removed his IT department and his funding, so he can't get to a lot of the information that you're requesting of him, first of all. And secondly, yes, he has an attorney. You're in the middle of a lawsuit. Why would you think he could talk to you directly? That just seems, you're all lawyers, aren't you? Hello, I'm no lawyer, but that's silly. By the way, Thomas Galvin, I don't always agree with you, but thank you for stopping the disparaging remarks and the lack of decorum that is showed on a regular basis by that person. Also, I would like to point out that under this agenda, it says that you may require any county officer to make reports under oath. Well, maybe he needs his IT department to help him to fill out those reports. And also, you're anticipating that votes on or changes may be made for these countywide policies. So are you planning on voting today to change policies for the county? I would think that something like that should need to be going before the voters because not everybody supports all your actions. I'd also like to point out that the things that you're demanding of him are A, the expenditure and prepayment issues identified on January 22nd in a letter from Kate Brophy-McGee to Justin Heap that's referenced as the letter. Shouldn't we all get to see the letter? B, the signature verification and curing issues identified in the letter. C, the special election board and deputy registrar program issues identified in the letter. The annual and alleged disenfranchisement of Maricopa County voters. Any requests of the Maricopa County recorder to federal funds. I mean, all of these things are pretty intense. He needs an IT department.
Thank you. We have no more public participation. The chair will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, before I do a motion, can I ask the attorney here, a couple speakers have said, well, obviously Recorder Heap can't answer any questions because he has a lawsuit, that he sued us. Is that accurate? Can he answer us questions about budget requests he had and other things?
Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, unfortunately, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office is not counsel of record for either side in this litigation, and so I cannot weigh in on who should say what at this point of time.
Madam Chair, can we call the attorney
Please.
on record for this issue?
Yes.
Mr. Corey Langhofer.
Please don't forget to turn your mic on and introduce yourself for the record.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Supervisor Lesko, it is not true that because litigation is pending in the courts that you can't do your job in the political branches here. This morning, as you know, yesterday there was a motion for a temporary restraining order filed in the court to keep you from hearing this agenda item. The judge has so far declined to sign that. And the judge's perspective, we met with him at 9 o'clock this morning in chambers with opposing counsel. Heap's lawyer was there. And the judge's perspective on that question was, Heap's a big boy. He's an elected official. You're elected officials. You're equals. You can work this out between yourselves. The judge has not signed an order that says you can't require Heap to answer questions about budget items, for example.
And thank you, Madam Chair and Mr. Langhofer. And just to clarify, the person that was trying to do a temporary restraining order about preventing us from talking about this at the board in a public meeting was Mr. Heap himself, correct?
Correct, through his lawyer.
Yes, and the judge denied it, correct? Or isn't ruling on it, correct?
That's right. The conversation we had in chambers suggests to me that he will not be signing it, but at the moment, briefing's still ongoing.
Thank you.
Matt, any other questions for our attorney? For the moment, you're free to go. Thank you. Now I will ask for a motion on the matter.
Okay. Thank you. Madam Chair, I move that the recorder must produce his report and all supporting records on February 18, 2026. I further move that the recorder appear in person to provide testimony regarding these matters under oath on the afternoon of February 18, 2026.
Board members, I would ask you to take note that the motion that is on the floor is different from the motion that's listed in the agenda because it includes the sworn public testimony of Recorder Heap. Would you please make a note in your agenda? Mr. Stewart.
Thank you, Madam. Before we vote, I'd like to explain my vote.
Oh, you know what? I need to get a second on the floor.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Stewart.
Thank you. Just like to explain my vote when we go through. Thank you.
We will, Mr. Gallardo, any questions?
No, I would also, Madam Chair, request if I'm able to explain my vote as well.
Thank you. I will ask Madam Clerk to conduct a roll call vote, and following that, I will open the floor for board member comments and explanations of their vote. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Supervisor Gallardo.
Madam Chair,
please.
May I explain my vote? Thank you so much. Madam Chair, I appreciate the motion in front of us. I've said this once, I'll say this again. I've been in that office. I was in that office for 14 years prior to getting into elected public life. I understand the importance of that office. I understand the responsibilities. I understand many of the jobs and responsibilities that are within the recorder's office. I was there when we had Recorder Keith Politis. I was there when we had Recorder Helen Purcell. I was here on the board when we had Recorder Adrian Fontes and Recorder Richards, and now we have Recorder Heap. And out of all those years, 30 plus years, I have never had to deal with the recorder's office or any other elected official in the manner in which we are having to be faced with and having to deal with. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate we're at this point where we are now having to push such an item forward. that we're having to go to these extra lengths just to come up with the basic answers as so eloquently described by Supervisor Lesko. It's important. It's important for us to do our job, and it's important for him to do his job. And we need to be able to know basic, simple answers to basic, simple questions. These are the exact same questions that we ask every other elected official. It doesn't matter. It's part of the role of government. It's about drafting a budget that is fair and responsible. That's what we're trying to do here. And I think, unfortunately, we're dealing with a recorder. And I'll say this, I'm not trying to be partisan. I'm not partisan, guys. Look at my Twitter account. Look at my social media. I don't go partisan. County government is not partisan. It's not. It's quality of life. It's taxpayers' responsibilities. And that is the role of county government. And when we have an elected official that's duly elected, I totally respect it, the will of the voters, duly elected, he has a responsibility to the people that elected him to be able to address these types of basic questions. It's part of government. It's how the legislature laid out how county government is to be conducted. But when you have an elected official that is not wanting to really work in a true partnership, and I understand the partnership, it is so critical that the recorder and the Board of Supervisors with our elections department all work together to try to service the people of Maricopa County. But it's a two-way street. And when you have someone on the other side like Mr. Heap, who unfortunately is just not wanting to cooperate, not even be 100% truthful in many of his answers. And I'll be the first to say, it's no secret, me personally, and again, I'm not being partisan, I'm being truthful here, he hasn't been totally truthful with me as well. He's made comments in the public that have been totally false. I've held back in calling him out on a lot of it until recently, but we continue to see a pattern. We continue to see a pattern of an office that is not being truthful, that honestly has been partisan, which you've never seen in that office before, but just has not been straightforward with this board. And it's unfortunate that we're at this position to have to move forward. Like I said, Madam Chair, I've been in that office. I've served with many recorders. I've now worked with a Republican and Democrat recorder. It's unfortunate, but that's the position we're in. This is where Mr. Heap has taken us. We will continue to move forward. We will do what's best for the taxpayers of the state of Arizona, or of Maricopa County, and be able to get just basic answers, truthful answers, basic truthful answers to many of the questions that have been brought up many times over and over. So with that, Madam Chair, for those reasons and many, many more, I support the motion in front of us. I vote aye.
Thank you, Mr. Gallardo.
Vice Chair Lesko.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to explain my vote further.
Please.
You know, I think it's very important for the sake of the voters and for the sake of the smooth operation of not only the 2026 election, but future elections, that we have to figure this out. And we have been successful. I mean, we ran some elections recently that were run well, and so it can happen. I continue to hope that the Board of Supervisors, the Elections Department, and the Recorder's Office can work together in good faith. I believe the Board of Supervisors has done so. I know that I have done so. And so I'm calling on Recorder Heap to please do what every other elected official, Maricopa County elected official, has done. When the sheriff's office or the county attorney's office or the assessor or the treasurer or whatever office comes to us and asks for money, we ask questions. And they answer the questions. It just seems common sense. You would do it if somebody asked you for money and you asked them some questions, you would answer back. But it's not happening here. And so I really hope, for the sake of the voters, that we can get this done, that Justin Heap and his office will come to the table and in sincere good faith work with the Board of Supervisors to work this out. That is what I want. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened yet. And with that, I vote aye.
Supervisor Galvin.
I vote aye.
Supervisor Stewart.
Thank you, and I appreciate Supervisor Lesko's comments, and I also appreciate the work that the board has been doing to try to get this thing done. You know, zoom out here, right? And for my neighbors that don't even have any idea what we're talking about, you know, back in 2024, there was a situation where the current recorder at the time, the board members, 3 of which that are sitting here today weren't on the board, adjusted the SSA, the shared service agreement, with the recorder's office, and then Justin came into office and decided, or basically looked at the new SSA and said, well, you know, like Lucy pulling the football away, you've taken away a lot of my responsibilities as I see them as an elected official. We understood that. I had empathy for that. I think the board did as well. And we went back to the drawing board to try to figure out a solution to this shared service agreement. That didn't go as we had all hoped that would go. We did give much of the IT back in those meetings. We decided that some things were better kept with the elections department. And not to get in too much in the weeds, but we thought that we had a deal. And, you know, to his prerogative, the recorder made the decision that I think he wasn't comfortable with that. I think we were joking that, you know, we were fighting over the airline miles, if you remember the movie Wedding Crashers. But anyway, he said that he needed some more things within the SSA, and so we went back to the drawing board, and then it just basically fell out of bed for a year, right? And we worked and worked and worked, and then the lawsuit came, and we're sitting in a place where that basically shut down communications and negotiations. We're finally back to the table, and I want to thank Corey for helping us get there, and I think we're getting closer to a solution to this SSA. But unfortunately, some things were said, and I'm just, as a guy, right, as an elected official, but as a neighbor, you know, when you use the term disenfranchisement, whether it was said in error or whether it was said on purpose, suddenly, you know, I sit back and say, oh, okay, hold on a second. If one vote didn't count because the board made a mistake or the recorder's office made a mistake, we've got to figure that out, which is the precipice for this motion, right? We need to understand what happened, and so that we can fix it, right, on behalf of the voter. And that's what this all comes down to, is I think about the big picture here is, let's figure out a way to get a deal done. And for whatever reason, we haven't been able to do that, and we need to do that. We need to do the business that the people expect us to do. But that takes 2 to tango, right? It takes 2 people to get those things done. And when we make an offer, yeah, make a counter offer, but don't just go to court and then sue us. And I'll say this too: careful what you wish for when you go to court, because once there's case law, then this SSA conversation basically ends. If the court decides that the recorder is responsible, as the term used, officer in charge of elections, is stuck with the recorder, that's in perpetuity unless the legislature changed the law. There's no negotiation going back and forth to make this work. It's a funky way that the legislature set this up, but it's what we have to live with. If it's in case law, Justin may not be the recorder one day. We may get a knucklehead that does something that we don't like, but it is stuck with him and the board has no oversight. Secondly, and lastly, and thank you for your patience, Madam Chair, but this is a big issue. Our responsibility is to protect the taxpayer dollar, which means that we have to track where the money goes, and we also have to understand why it's being spent, because we have other departments that money needs to go to, like the Sheriff's Department, the Parks Department, et cetera. And so it is I joke about this, Jen, you know, we're poor. I came from a very flush city where if we wanted to do something fun or if we wanted to build a baseball field, we could figure out how to do that in the O&M. We don't have that luxury here because we have an expenditure limit, right? We don't have that luxury here because we like to do more with less. So when you're talking about $500,000, everybody on this board sits up and goes, $500,000? That's a lot of money. That's 5 cops, right? And I'll try to land the plane here. At the end of the day, we have been advocating for public discussion on this SSA. We've been advocating for more public discussion on everything so that you can see how the sausage is being made. And I think you'll understand that we're not that far apart. So as an optimistic pragmatist, I think we're close. I think working with the attorney that we have now, we're getting closer every day. We have an offer to the recorder right now. Hopefully he'll redline it with the things that he needs, give it back to us, and we'll get this thing put to bed. But we do need to get to the bottom of the phrase disenfranchisement and what that means so that we can fix it. Nobody's going to get in trouble. We just need to fix that issue. So I appreciate that. I'll be voting aye because I do want to do this in public. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
Chair Brophy McGee.
So this agenda item allows the board to speak as a body and memorialize it in a vote. Our roles and functions are very different from a single elected official who can travel from LD to LD, public speaking opportunity to public speaking opportunity, and always be speaking on behalf of his office, regardless of whether it's truthful. And this item boils down to requesting the information we need to govern, to do our job. I was thinking, and I'm terrible at math, but I was trying to add up the years of experience on this board on my drive down here. And I gave up when I got to 55, 60 years. The depth and breadth of experience from Congress to state government to legislature to school board to county is remarkable. Oh, and city council, because I did add in Mr. Stewart's 8 years. The point being, we make really lousy fall guys when it comes to a one-term legislator who introduced or got one bill signed, which was a strike or two, an original bill that exempted the construction of hoop house or poly house from municipal and county permit requirements. I actually started with a county bill, and it was also a striker, so I get it. But I'm sitting next to a former congresswoman who did one of the most comprehensive, broad pension plan reforms in the history of the state of Arizona. I am sitting next to another gentleman who served as chief of staff for the Arizona Corporation Commission for a number of years, and Mr. Gallardo has reviewed his experience. I believe Mr. Stewart had 2 terms on Chandler City Council. You have 3 new board members who brought an incredible wealth of experience to this job. And I gotta tell you, seeing what I see with county, I have needed every single experience I had to be able to comprehend and understand the complexity of county operations. So what I'm looking for in this vote is accountability to our taxpayers, accountability to our voters. Our resources are limited, and we need the information. And we need the real information, the true information, not the contradictory information. Something's true and something's not true, but they can't both be true, to determine the most efficient and effective allocations. I will point out, there's a lot of going back and forth between officer in charge of elections and recorder. Just from my short time participating, I'm now a board member with the County Supervisors Association. We have much smaller counties out there that have 3 board members, not 5. So every time you come up with a supermajority requirement for a county, they just sit there and laugh at us. But the other issue is, like rural schools, you have a superintendent who drives a bus, cleans the cafeteria, do these multiple jobs. So you will see different allocations depending on the staffing in those particular counties. We do not fall under that. We are one of the largest counties, the largest county in Arizona, and one of the fourth largest county in the country. So our operations are by definition much more dense. So I am very grateful to hear from my colleagues, and it was absolutely imperative to me that you hear from my colleagues and that you hear their reasoning, determine their understanding of the issues. And with that, I vote aye. Madam Clerk?
Madam Chair, we have a total of 5 ayes for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously. And thank you to everyone. And we will now go back towards the beginning. We are on statutory hearings, items 12 and 13. Are there any speaker forms, Madam Clerk?
Madam Chair, none were received on these items.
Thank you. The board will now consider items 12 and 13. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve item number 12 and 13.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Supervisor Galvin. Thank you. Hearing no further discussion, the board will proceed to a vote. All those in favor will say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. We will now proceed to the consent agenda, items 14 through 52. Supervisors, do any of you wish to remove any item from the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I'm not wanting to remove an item, but I do want to make a comment on one of them before we...
Thank you. Following the vote, I will try to remember to ask for your comment. The board will now consider items 14 through 52. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve items 14 through 52.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Stewart. Hearing no further discussion, we will proceed to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Supervisor Gallardo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, just thank you to the board. Item 43 for the reappointment to the Ryan White HIV Planning Council. As we know, this is a federal legislation that was passed, I don't even know, several years ago, that really had local governments and nonprofits come together to be able to service the community from an education side, healthcare, and just quality of life. There was a comment made earlier calling HIV a hoax. And I just want to remind that individual, nearly 44 million people have died with HIV or AIDS. 600, I think it's like 630,000 have died just in 2024. Ryan White was named after a young kid, no fault of his own, through medical blood transfusion, acquired the actual ugly disease that ended his life. Congress stepped up in a bipartisan way and said, we're going to do everything we can to put an end to this ugly disease, and they did so. And the Ryan White Council, along with many other nonprofits, governments, and community organizations, come together every year to do everything they can to not only educate the community, provide healthcare services, and just have a better quality of life. So when people say stuff like it's a hoax, just remind 44 million people in this world have died. Kids, mothers, grandfathers, you name it, have died because of this ugly disease. So I just wanted to point that out. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and thank you for your continued service and devotion to this issue. We will now proceed to remaining items on the Board of Supervisors addendum, starting with items 54, conflict waiver for Deacon Sini.
Did you want to do 52?
I guess it would be helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was, no, all right. We will proceed with item number 53. Take all that back. Appoint a justice of the peace for the Ironwood Justice Court. Mr. Gallardo, do you have a motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes. First of all, a big shout out to Mr. Getzweiler, who a long-standing justice of the peace out there in, what's the name of the court? I think it's Ironwood. They keep changing the name. Ironwood. Out in Gila Bend. I call my Gila Bend Justice Court, but it's much bigger. It actually goes in a part of District 4 as well. If you know the Getzweiler family, you would know just how wonderful that family is. And they are just pillars of the community out there. And he had served so long for many years and has decided, I think it was back in December, he reached out and said that he planned on retiring. So we did open it up, as we always do. We have our appointment process that, thank you to the clerk's office for their work in conducting it. We did have 4 wonderful applicants that had applied. We actually went to them. I said, all the applicants live in Gila Bend. Why are we making them come to Phoenix for an interview? So I told the office, we're going out there. We're going to go to Gila Bend. And we're going to host the interviews, or have our interviews there in Gila Bend. So thank you to the town council for opening up their little conference room and allowing us to have these interviews there. But there was one candidate that stood out who just comes with a remarkable resume. One, she has served in that court for over 30 years. Wow. She is the chief clerk of that court. She knows that court like the back of her hand. You couldn't ask for a better qualified candidate that is ready to just step in and do this job. Whoever's appointed, though, would have to run this year. So they got to get out there, do their petitions, and file them in the next probably, 6 weeks or so. So they have a task in front of them. But, Madam Chair, I would like to recommend for appointment Lori Burkhart to be the interim Justice of the Peace for Ironwood Justice Court in Maricopa County.
Thank you, Mr. Gallardo. Appreciate your due diligence. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussions? The board will proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. Now we go to item 54 on the addendum. Conflict waiver for DeConcini, McDonald, Yetwin, and Lacey. The initiation of litigation regarding zoning code violations and the initiation of litigation regarding Maricopa County Environmental Health Code.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
ARS violations.
Excuse me, you're moving to 54 already? I had signed up to speak on 53.
I'm sorry, ma'am, that vote has been conducted. You can restate your comments during public participation.
I turned in public comment form for that, ma'am. 53.
Madam, the vote has been taken. Please come back for public participation.
You're playing fancy games with us again.
It's what I do.
You're not letting me
All right.
speak.
The board will now consider items 54 through 56.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we approve items 54 through 56.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Hearing no further discussion, the board will proceed to a vote. All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes unanimously. Skipping over item 57, action was previously taken. We go to item 58, warrant with Rummel Construction, Inc. And in order to do that, we have to recess as the Board of Supervisors and convene as the Improvement District. We will now consider item 58. Madam Vice Chair?
Madam Chair, do we want to ask if there's any speakers?
I think we do have a speaker.
Madam Chair, I do have one speaker on item 58, Leslie Shepard.
Okay, let's get a motion on the table and hear from the public.
Okay.
While the clerk searches. And please, decorum.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we approve item number 58.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Madam Clerk, Public participation.
Madam Chair, I'm only finding the one from Leslie Shepherd on item 58.
Ms. Shepherd. Calling Ms. Shepherd. My recommendation is if you've signed up to speak, please be in the room when your name is called. Ms. Shepherd, please proceed.
Oh, one more rule for us now, huh? Okay, so agenda item number 58, the warrant with Rummel Construction Improvement District, Assessment Authority and Property Owners. Chairman, item number 58 authorizes a warrant allowing Rummel Construction Incorporated to demand and receive assessments from the 130th Street and Chandler Heights Boulevard Paving Improvement District pursuant to ARS 48927. This action directly affects property owners financially. My question specific to agenda item number 58 is, since you denied several people the use of webinar today on this subject, I will ask you the question that was a concern for one of the denied requesting speakers. Have all the affected property owners been formally notified of the assessment amounts and payment schedules prior to this warrant authorization? This is germane, and because the warrant empowers collection for the record, notice and transparency are essential for the assessment of the imposed. I'll let Ms. Lesko's comment about the importance of responding to a question. Now we'll see how you respond to the question.
Ms. Shepherd, you have 46 seconds. You have a question on the table. Do you have any other questions?
Are you going to tell me that I'm going to wait till the very end, because then I can make more questions for you? Okay, so my question is, observation, you have just now created a new rule. When I walked up here.
Ms. Shepherd, this pertains to item 58.
I'm so glad that you're keeping me on task. I do know that you know how to do that.
Thank you. Jesse, would you please come forward and introduce yourself?
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Madam Vice Chair, members of the board. I'm Jesse Gutierrez, County Engineer and Director of Transportation. The item before you is the last step in a long process that we've been have undertaken with this pavement improvement district. From the initial onset of creating the district through several steps of designing, creating a set of plans, and ultimately getting an assessment map that each and every homeowner was participated in, is fully aware. There's 31 homeowners on this street. They elected to pave this roadway, and in return, we would manage the design and construction, and ultimately maintain this roadway in perpetuity. So the road has been constructed. It's taken into the county highway system, and now the final step is actually to pay the contractor for their work, and this is what you would be approving today, is give them the authority to send out the bills to each and every homeowner that have been very well aware of the cost, the time frames, and been involved in every step of the process for the last 4 years.
Thank you. Supervisor Stewart, this is in your district. Any comments or questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Jesse, for that explanation. Yeah, this is kind of neat. It's something I just learned about with a road improvement district where the community actually utilizes the services of the county, actually in some of our better buying opportunities for cost reduction. So we can really help them out with this. And so they're all aware of it, and it's a great project, and they reimburse the taxpayer. The great thing about this is that the particular community pays for their improvements versus spreading it out across all of taxpayers, and they can do things customized if they like to, working with the county. So this is a good program, and I'll be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Any other questions from board members? Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
Hearing none, we will proceed to a vote. Mr. Stewart. Care to make a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion on item number 58, warrant with Rummel Construction for the 130th Street and Chandler Heights Road Paving Improvement District.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this item. Hearing no further discussion, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We will now
Madam Chair.
adjourn as the Improvement District and convene as the Flood Control.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair, just to clarify, there was already a motion and second for item 58, just so for the record reflects.
Which one do we want to do?
I believe the first one, I had the record of motion by District 4, seconded
Okay.
by District 1.
Thank you. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely,
you want to
Madam
withdraw
Chair.
your motion?
I would like to withdraw my motion,
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair.
Does that get us there, or do we need to reconduct the vote?
That'll get you there, thank you.
Oh, thank you. One of these years. So, we will adjourn as the Improvement District and convene as the Flood Control District Board of Directors to consider agenda items 59, 60, and 61. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers on any of these items?
Madam Chair, none received on these items.
Thank you. The board will now consider items 59 through 61. Madam Vice Chair?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve items 59 through 61.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded by Supervisor Gallardo. We will now proceed to a vote. All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. And now we will adjourn the Flood Control District Board of Directors and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors and proceed to item 62, public comment. Madam Clerk, do you have anything to report regarding public comment email responses?
Madam Clerk, I'm sorry. Madam Chair, I do not have anything to report on emails, but I do have in my hand 14 requests to speak.
14 requests to speak in person. Let's get going.
First speaker, Florence Smith, followed by Lisa Everett and Sheila Roberts.
Okay. Lawrence
Smith.
Florence, thank you.
Okay.
Welcome.
I remain very, very concerned about the machines that are being used for elections. I've been reading the recently published book, Stolen Elections, The Takedown of Democracies Worldwide by Ralph Pizzullo. It's based on the findings of 2 investigators. These 2 investigators found that the Venezuelan engineers who developed the source code for the Smartmatic machines made sure that Chavez and Maduro won whatever the votes were. Throughout the changes from Smartmatic to Sequoia to Dominion, the software has mutated, but the source code remains the same and can be controlled by the developers, just as Apple still owns and controls the source code of the software running your computer, and Apple can update the software on your device anytime they want, even when you're sleeping. The 15 engineers who designed the system are able to enter Dominion's encrypted voting system through a back door that was deliberately and secretly placed there. It's where the master key to the encryption is hidden. You can't prove the system can be entered through a back door if you aren't familiar with the special tools that are built into the system, tools that have never been disclosed to any U.S. government agency with oversight over election integrity. Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, has stated, "We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a long time and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast. I feel ballots need to be hand-counted in precincts to make sure that others, be they Venezuela or China, are not changing our votes."
And who's next?
Next up is Lisa Everett, followed by Sheila Roberts.
Thank you.
Madam Chair and Supervisors, I just would like to briefly speak to you about a different topic, water. Many times people approach you opposing a development or a business or an industry citing water usage. And although I share their concerns, I would like for you guys to just know this little bit of information. Our population has more than doubled since the 80s, yet we use less water now than we did in the 80s. And that is amazing. It's innovation, it's technology, and I'm grateful that we do this. The reason I'm talking about this is in the future, there's going to be an agenda item called Project Bacara, a data center that will be going in the West Valley. And the reality is, people are complaining about water. And I understand that. But there is something amazing that we're able to use now, and that's reclaimed water. Water that has already been pulled, and we reclaim it to use again in the future. And I hope that not only in Project Bacara, but in other projects, you think about the fact that no one wants to waste water in the desert, and that technology has exceeded our wildest imagination these days, and that we can have progress without reducing our water source. And I just appreciate your time listening to this. This project will come in the future, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Sheila Roberts, followed by Susan Hillwig.
Welcome.
Well, hi. I'm definitely not a public speaker, but I'm going to do my best here. My name is Sheila Roberts. I'm a PC and state committeeman at LD 27. We, and I'm referring to myself and you all, share in our commitment to responding to our public's needs. I've gave 30 years of my life to this community as a member of the fire department and responding to their needs, and I'm always, always, always in my heart and my actions to do the right thing. I think we all share that. I hope we do. I'm here today because I feel like you're not responding to the public's needs or what is right according to the county recorder fiasco, and I'm referring to the SSA. When we voted in November of 24, we voted for County Recorder Justin Heap to represent us and do the duties of the county recorder. However, this is my big issue. 10 days prior to him taking office, this SSA came behind the back of everybody, changed all the responsibilities, which doesn't seem fair to me. We should, as people, know what changes are going on or what our recorder is going to be doing. This alone is very disturbing to me. It's infuriating, actually. He's trying to do, from my understanding, he's trying to get the previous SSA back the way it was in the past, what we voted on, and there's been nothing but lawfare and roadblocks for him. Whether spiteful and intentional actions to keep him from doing his job for what we voted him to do. And Debbie, Vice Chair Debbie, keep in mind, we just heard from him last night and a couple other times at the LD meeting, of which I'm sorry you weren't there last night. Could have been a very great conversation between you two, but that's okay. Anyway, I'm running out of time, but I just basically want the SSA to be reinstated the way it was, just like Justin was, what we voted for as the public, and I appreciate you guys working together with him to get that done. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Next up, Susan Hillwig, followed by Roger Pickrell, and then Joe Hoff.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Pickrell?
Madam Chair, Supervisors, here we are. Welcome again. It's a great day outside, and we're going to have some good weather, I hope. I just had a question. I had some other thoughts, but I wanted to find out over here. On item 55, I apologize if I didn't have maybe I re-waxed my ears this morning, but I didn't hear my name called out on that item that I put out for. So was there something that I didn't see on oversight on that as I got 26 minutes after a minute? I just wondered about that, because I want just to initiate about the zoning violations of Cave Creek on that initiate item. Basically, the consistency and equal enforcement is what read. So, Madam Chair, item 55 authorizes litigation to enforce zoning ordinances at 36423 North 27th Place in Cave Creek. Zoning enforcement must be consistent across the county. Unequal enforcement creates selective application concerns. My question, which I can't get an answer, is, has the county documented how many comparable zoning violations in District 3 resulted in litigation versus informal compliance, and is this action consistent with prior enforcement history? The public deserves to know whether litigation compliance is a standard procedure or selective. I'd always like to know transparency. You know, I'm just an old school old fart. Sorry about the word, but I'm just one of these guys that just likes to know what is going on. And I thank you for all your attention on this. So maybe it'll be a moment that we can check out the speaking assignment sometimes. I had this problem once before, and we're human. We all fall short of glory of God. Thank you very much. God bless, and
Thank you, Mr. Pickrell. Joe Hoff. And then, Madam Clerk, who's up next?
Christian Bale and Leslie Shepard.
I too filled out a form. This lady has it right there. Item number 56, but I see I've been successfully censored. Structural barriers to participation. Today's agenda once again demonstrates a structural pattern that must be placed clearly on the record. Items 14 through 52 grouped under consent, approved by a single motion unless pulled by a supervisor. When more than 30 agenda items are consolidated in this way, meaningful public oversight is functionally eliminated unless a board member intervenes. On January 28, 2026, 4 individuals were allowed to speak via webinar and were given 3 minutes each. Others were denied webinar access, required to attend in person, limited to 2 minutes, and required to submit slips within 10 minutes of the meeting. Today, several people were denied webinar First Amendment right. When participation rules vary by person rather than policy, that raises equal protection concerns. This statement is placed on the record to document that the structure itself limits meaningful civic participation. Such censorship and silencing at this hints to not so much as a board meeting, but as a performance. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, is it Kristen Bale?
Yes, ma'am. Followed by Leslie Shepard.
Thank you.
Chair and members of the board, you are responsible for ensuring both election integrity and public confidence in Maricopa County. Recent federal actions, including March 25th, 2025 executive order on election integrity, signal that election security and transparency are national priorities. With that in mind, my question is simple. When will Arizona ensure that its processes reflect the highest standards of transparency and public verification? Election integrity is not just about final results. It's about whether the process is audible, understandable, and trusted by the public. When voters cannot easily verify how results are produced, confidence declines. Restoring that confidence should be a shared goal. So I ask, what independent security reviews or audits of Maricopa County election systems have been conducted? Would those results be made fully public? And what steps are being taken to ensure that every lawful vote is clearly reflected in final totals? Our constitutions are grounded in the principle of one person, one vote.
Every legal vote must remain private, and the counting process must be transparent and verifiable so that no lawful voter feels disenfranchised. Finally, I'm seeking clarification on one unresolved item from the last election. Approximately 52 provisional paper ballots were reportedly not reflected by publicly presented numbers. Were those ballots counted, and where do they appear in the final certified tally? Clear answers build public trust. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Leslie Shepherd, followed by Albert Rivera, and then Lori Baroni.
I'm going to say some key words here because as the board, I've gone on record several times. I've requested trying to figure out who's in charge of uploading this to YouTube, which is what Debbie Lesko uses often as a reference, as a reason to not have all the information in the minutes. Selective visual suppression based on speaker viewpoints. When you cut out my book, the person now can either cut out my face and view me from behind because they keep cutting out my props that I bring up here. Unequal enforcement, selective treatment. Consistently cropping so that my face is only in the picture rather than the visuals that I would like to be part of the presentation. I would like that to stop. I'm asking one of you to have integrity right now and to help me figure out who's doing the uploading and who's doing the editing. Because I notice they continue to put her in the shot as often as she sits there. I think that's important to note, because I know lawfare is going on. Okay, content-based editorial manipulation. In other words, when you cut out my content, you can't get a full understanding when I'm doing my presentation for anyone who's watching the YouTube, because they don't understand I'm sitting here trying to show you a book that's in your county library. This one, unfortunately, is in Mr. Stewart's, of perversion that's in the minors department still to this day. County library, not city library, let's not mistake it. And then also the other thing is the off-topic parts. I'm noticing that when you guys speak, you can speak as long as you want and as off-topic as you want. But when we speak, you step on our words, Ms. Kate Brophy-McGee. One day, one vote, precinct, hand counting. Just in case your auditor or editor wants to try and cut it out here, yeah, I can look foolish to whoever, but I'm making a point. I'm asking one of you to show integrity regarding.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Albert Rivera, Lori Baroni, Diane Barker.
Hello and good morning, Chairwoman and Supervisors. My name is Albert Rivera, and I'm a citizen of Maricopa County, and I'm beyond proud to call this county home. The reason why I came here this morning is because I want to talk to you guys about the Melendrez case, okay? Everybody has a matter of opinion, especially from you, Mr. Galvin, you, Mrs. Lesko, and you, Mrs. McGee. Sure, the Melendrez case has been going on for nearly 2 decades, but this is where you guys seem to forget about it all. Jerry Sheridan's boss, who I don't even have to say his name, is responsible for the mess that we're living in. Don't get me wrong, we have a lot of great MCSO deputies, and they are in credit to their work. But the fact of the matter is this, there's still racial profiling going on, according to the backlog that was issued on August 11th of last year, and according to the ACLU on that report from October 8th. So, if there's still racial profiling according to those 2 factors, why should we stop the racial profiling? I've listened to you on KTAR, Galvin, and I know that you've been trying to basically file a motion in order to stop Judge Snow, but guess what? He's not gonna change. He's not gonna listen to you guys or me. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. Sure, there are a lot of great MCSO deputies, like I said, but then again, we have to hold our leaders responsible, and that's why I came here today to hold you guys responsible, except for Mr. Gallardo, because Mr. Gallardo has always been in the fight, and you know how well I appreciate you, and by far you're my favorite supervisor. But here's the thing, and yeah, I can see you laughing, Mr. Galvin. I'm so sorry that I didn't call you my favorite supervisor. Yeah, But it doesn't matter it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. The fact of the matter is this: you're wrong, and you claim that you care about Arizona, but you were the lawyer for a Saudi Arabia firm. So nobody will ever take your words seriously, and that's why I say that your words don't hold any merit. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam
Steve,
Clerk.
you're my favorite too.
Next up, Lori Baroni, Diane Barker, Blue Crawley.
Thought we weren't allowed to talk back. So, I would like to point out that recently the Maricopa County Superior Court judge told the county something important. You don't get to make up authority that you don't have. The county attorney tried to block Recorder Justin Heap from choosing his own legal counsel, and the court threw it out completely. No standing, no authority, and case dismissed. That ruling matters because it confirms a pattern. The Maricopa County Board of Supervisors keeps overstepping, keeps blocking oversight, and keeps pretending accountability is optional. It isn't. Courts are now stepping in because internal checks have failed, and when systems fail, corrective action follows. That's not politics, that's how regulated systems work. We've been pounding the facts about corrective action plans to help keep your butts out of problems, but you keep ignoring it, and guess what? You're not gonna be able to keep ignoring it forever. So let me be clear, this county is not getting away with it. Corrective action is coming to Arizona, oversight is coming, and the days of ignoring statutory duties and calling it process are over. You've been warned by the court and now by the public. Corrective action, we need it. Countywide, statewide, and it is already done nationwide. So, and worldwide for that matter. So y'all need to stop ignoring it. You've all been talked about, told about it, given information about it, till the cows come home. Stop ignoring it. It'll keep your butts out of trouble, maybe, if you're lucky. Also, I'd just like to point out that, Steve Gallardo, I do appreciate your efforts for the AIDS virus stuff. Oops, I'm sorry. But I also would like to point out that COVID happened 5-6 years ago. AIDS has been 50 years ago, and we're still doing AIDS, but we're not worrying about the COVID stuff that happened and all the ways that people suffered from that. And guess what? We need clean blood supplies because just like AIDS, it's a problem.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Diane Barker, Blue Crawley, Luimar Garza.
Good morning, Chairwoman Kate Brophy-McGee, Board of Supervisors. I'm Diane Barker, and I have been in Steve Gallardo's District 5 for some time, but I've never ever gotten to have a meeting with you. I haven't really pressured you too much, but the next time I do ask, I hope you will oblige me. I see that you know, Steve, we have a lot of talking about being nonpartisan, and we're supposed to be on this board, but the system actually puts you here through parties. So, you know, you may be, hate to say it, some of you, and like all of you, have been kind. They talk to you, you know, when you're not on the dais. And we appreciate that. But you're still part of a systemic situation where the parties, and Steve, you're not independent. You're not, no way you're not. And you solidified the status quo. This body, as just like our neighborhoods, keep up the status quo, even to the fact that don't get out of your car seat. We have one of the dirtiest Maricopa counties in the United States, and a lot of it is you still put the same people back in that were voting for the light rail. They had a terrible, terrible accident. 3 days the light rail was down at Indian School. A guy died, and that happened just in the last couple of months. We need to, I don't go to MAG anymore because they exempt transit. I use transit. Everybody needs to be responsible in all modes for the pollution in Maricopa County.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Blue Crawley, Luimar Garza, last speaker, Suzanne Webb.
no background on it, but you guys are the region, right? So the Regional Public Transit Authority, could whoever is now on that board raise their hand so I can direct some of my comments to them? Thank you. Hey, as you know, I have been a part of this since the 80s. I'm the one that wrote the bus part. So when you guys, over this last funding and doing the bus, when 1/3 of the whole plan was kicked to the curb, and now with the new one, what are you doing? Well, you're asking us to come up with a plan. As I stated here over the months before now, what was their plan? They don't have one. So, Ms. Lesko, what is the plan? Are you going to get back and do all of the ones that were supposed to be done? Where is the acquisition of buses being done? Well, what I see is the city of Phoenix is screaming, hey, we've got to keep this rail thing going to the Capital, and what about all those monies? I was up here saying all along, it's not multimodal, get your hands off my buses. So, what are you doing to make the problem go away, as in, where are all the buses for all the bus routes that should be there, and it's not that hard to do it? I understand that you'd like to put little tiny ones in your district, Mr. Stewart, but we need actual buses, and having it put out there for traffic amounts and for congestion. What is being done? You're asking the people to come up with a plan. Damn it, get off the snide, and you are the area that you need to get it done, not saying, all you little cities, come up with a plan.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Madam Clerk.
Luamar Garza, Suzanne Webb.
Warp speed. Backdating is a crime, remember that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States for America, and to the restored republic for which it now stands, one nation under chemtrail-free skies, with where we go one, we go all. That's for you, Mr. Smith of CASS. Number 2, the over-the-top regurgitating of where the election money is going, and yet we just passed an entire year of money laundering items and no concerns whatsoever. You hypocrites. And your contemptibly corrupt judges won't change the truth. Hashtag because Arizona. As regards this decades-long sham regarding HIV, Mr. Gallardo, it rings hollow. It is done for, because now we know government lies about everything, especially working with NGOs, proven to be money launderings. Would you care to learn something from the Leering Center in Minnesota? Number 4, number 45 that you passed was a 121% increase to a foreign entity, T.Y. Lin International, for the Northern Parkway, and they only need to complete it in June of 2031, 121% increase. And as far as Miss Lisa Ever retarded, number 10, we're not in for shit water, okay? Knock it off. Now with that, my last one, let's get it going. I will say to all of you, you two queens, lowercase q, you are under this, and we have a bunch of women now who know that you too are the enemy. Because as we are moms, maidens, matrons, matriarchs, you too are siding with the enemy, and we will bring you down. We have Joan of Arc, we have Rosa Parks, we have Madame Curie, Harriet Tubmans, Florence Nightingale, and as the Italian here, I'll be your Sophia Loren. We have a Camelot sort of justice embedded with we the people, persevering to the end. When we pull it out, we're going to flay.
Madam Clerk.
Last speaker, Suzanne Webb.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Webb, and I represent the business community, actually. I've been a business leader and a chief financial officer for hospital systems for the last 40 years, since you guys think it's important to give your resume. I will tell you right now, what I've seen this morning, and I've never been to a board meeting like this, is embarrassing. I have someone like Debbie Lesko who's committed treason by saying she didn't know anything about what Justin Heap said last night, but she had her own staff there recording it. Did anyone in your staff not tell you what happened at the meeting? You chose not to go. You knew he was going to be there. So purposely saying, I'm not going to go to listen to Justin and get the answer so I could put on this charade today of all these things of, oh my gosh, why won't he tell us? I have it on tape. I have this whole 40-minute presentation of everything he said, and I'm going to get a transcript, and I'm going to put it out on the web so you guys can actually look for it. Because apparently you're not trying to even do a decent job. You don't really care about any of these things, and there's already been several judges, and I have the sightings of all the judges that have already ruled you're overstepping your bounds. I brought the Constitution as my other thing because the Constitution was created because of organizations like yours that take power away and say, I'm going to keep pushing this through legal, even when legal will not touch it because you're extending your bounds. Everything works in our government if you stay within your lane, if you do what you were told to do. You guys are stepping outside of it. You're not trying to do the right thing. I heard amazing things from Justin Heap last night, how he's actually got the signature verification better, how it doesn't show the affiliated party like it used to before. He has done things to make it better, more efficient, work faster, be more accurate. He has Republicans and Democrats working together to make sure that it's not partisan and that every vote counts and that everything is done the way that it should be. And there's a reason that you guys don't want him to do this. So either you don't want verification of signatures or you don't want it to be done lawfully, because otherwise there's no purpose for you wasting money to go to court when you say your budget's all important. I'm a financial expert. I'm reviewing your budget. You're on notice.
Thank you. That concludes public comment. And I would like then to proceed to supervisors and county manager comments. I'll start with Madam County Manager.
Nothing today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Gallardo? Okay. I'm 0 for 2. Supervisor Stewart?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate the meeting today, and it's good to do this in public. You know, one of the fun things I get to do is be out with the community, but one of the things that we've been talking about today is elections. I'm taking it upon myself to visit as many of the county election centers as I can, just to learn if there's any little morsels that we can bring back to the county to find out what they're doing better, or maybe we can share with them some of the things that we're doing, but just get exposure to the things that we're doing. So I've already visited Pima County. My next on the list is Pinal County, and I'll stay committed to that to get as many of those done this year as I possibly can. You know, speaking of Justin Heap, once again, it seems like we're talking about this a lot. We are still spending time trying to create solutions for our voters. Supervisor Lesko and I spent last week going through the signature verification process that Recorder Heap has put together with his team. So while we might be in court, while we might be having some challenges with the SSA, we are still trying to work together on behalf of the voters, and that was a great event. So, and then last night I was able to ring in the Chinese New Year with our Chinese American, Chinese American,
Mr. Stewart.
It's okay, our Chinese American community and out in the West Valley. And it was a wonderful time, and I want to thank Dragon Sam Setso for inviting me and my team to be a part of that and to ring in the Chinese New Year with them. And, you know, it was remarkable to talk with the community there who are living the American dream. These are people that are hardworking entrepreneurs and believe in the American spirit, and it was really refreshing to be a part of that event last night and to be a part of what they're trying to accomplish. And tonight, is it tonight? I think it's tonight or tomorrow night. No, it's tomorrow night. I'll be attending the Chandler State of the City, my former stomping grounds, to see what they're working on and see if there's any of our fingerprints from when I served there still moving forward. And then enjoy President's Day on February 16th. I hope you have an enjoyable weekend. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
And thank you, Supervisor Stewart. Supervisor Galvin has asked to go last, so how about you, Supervisor, Vice Chair Lesko?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I do want to address one of the speakers. She's not here anymore, I don't think. Kristen, I think her name was. She wanted to know, when are the audits of the election system going to be done? We actually approved a comprehensive audit of the election system. In fact, that was one of my priorities when I got into office. And it's going to be a multi-year process because we're auditing a lot of things, but I understand that the results of that will be done soon, and of course then we're publicly going to talk about it, and if there's any improvements that need to be done, we will obviously work on that. I do want to talk about some of the things that I've done since we last met. I did go to another one of the court hearings, the federal court hearings on the Melendres versus the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office court hearing. It's a frustrating case that has cost us hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars. And again, I advocate that that be ended. And the Board of Supervisors has hired attorneys to file a Rule 60 so that we can end this federal oversight of the Sheriff's Department. I attended the grand reopening of the Sheriff's District 3 substation in Surprise. They've remodeled it. It's great. I met with the SWAT team, the bomb squad, mounted sheriff's officers, and they did demonstration of the drones, and it was a great community event. I also went in, once again, I've done this before, gone to Runbeck, who is a vendor that we use for election services, and toured it again and looked at the equipment. I went to speak at the Arizona Republican Assembly, which was over in the Northwest Valley. I went to a roundtable and tour, as Mr. Stewart has said, at the Maricopa County Tabulation and Election Center, and we spent time listening to the recorder and his staff about their new signature verification system, trying to learn that, and also had a brief tour by the Elections Department, Scott Jarrett. I met with the West Valley mayors and managers yesterday morning, a great venue where all of the West Valley mayors get together and talk about the issues that are important to them and how I can help them. Also yesterday, met with the Sun City HOA and the Sun City Rec Center officials. They had a whole list. I think I spent 2 hours talking to them of things that they would like the county to get involved in, and I had county staff come there. And also Jim Bull from my team has gone out to numerous ribbon cuttings and events, and I want to thank him for that because Team Lesko is out and about in our community just about every day. So thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you, and I typically don't comment. I encourage you all to subscribe to my newsletter if you haven't, because I recap all my goings and comings there, but I just had to take a minute to talk about the partnership between Maricopa County Parks and Maricopa County Animal Care and Control. They have developed a program for really special four-legged ambassadors who are specially selected to serve as bark rangers while they wait for their forever families, and they explore Maricopa County parks and their incredible beauty. I can't believe I've lived here all my life and there's so many I haven't been to that I now have, and they share dog-friendly trails and tips. So most of our parks are dog-friendly and accessible on leashes, except for Hassayampa River Preserve, because it's a very delicate riparian area. And so I encourage you to go on the website or Facebook for Maricopa County Animal Control and meet the original bark ranger, Bento. I got to be there when Bento was issued his employee badge, and he got his barking pass. And board members, as a warning, you have beautiful parks in your area. You're going to be meeting the bark ranger down the road, so stand by. I would also like to give a shout out to the East Sunny Slope community. It was East Sunny Slope Neighborhood Association and Blockwatch, and they have rebranded because they want to attract newer members. And what they're finding out is that Block Watch looks like people in an HOA complaining about their next door neighbor. No, they're people who, so they've rebranded, and it's a great rebrand. They celebrated their 10th anniversary last week. I got to hang out with Mayor Kate Gallego, Councilwoman Deb Stark, Councilman Kevin Robinson, Matt Giordano, the Chief of Police, and helped celebrate that anniversary and the 90th birthday of the original Mr. Sunny Slope, Fred. It was so fun. And then last night, not to be outnumbered, Cox Meadows conducted, I think it's their 3rd or 4th annual Block Watch Chili Cook-Off. And I got to be a judge. And it was so fun. I'm getting over it. But no, it was just super. So we're talking about starting chili cook-off contests across District 3. I want to thank my fellow board members for their respect, for their professionalism, and for their deep concern and due diligence on these issues. And Mr. Galvin, as you requested, you have the floor.
Madam Chair, thank you. I usually don't speak actually during this portion of the meeting anymore, but everyone here has really good stuff and eloquent matters to talk about. But last week, the Arizona Department of Public Service lost 2 folks in the line of duty. And not only that, but another member of DPS was shot. And I spoke with several members who represent DPS, and it's a very tough time for them. And I know everyone here in the Board of Supervisors, we talk about how much we care and respect and honor public safety and law enforcement officials. And so I think it's only fitting and proper that we honor 2 folks who lost their lives last week. And if I may, Madam Chair, I want to read out their names and their service. Robert Skanke, end of service February 4th, 2026, Pilot Air Rescue, Aviation Supervisor, Aviation Bureau, Agency Support Division, Arizona Department of Public Safety. And a very young man, Hunter Bennett, end of watch February 4th, 2026, State Trooper Paramedic, Aviation Bureau, Agency Support Division, Arizona Department of Public Safety. I ask everyone here please to bow your heads in a brief moment of silence for the fallen. I also know that they are doing everything they can to support the families and the loved ones of the 2 fallen DPS officers. They're also doing a fundraiser, and if you can, please contribute to them at aztroopers.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Galvin. And with those concluding comments, this concludes the business of this board meeting, and this meeting is adjourned.